The professor also demonstrated the baking of pain de seigle, or rye bread, during his visit.
In France, rye bread is eaten with seafood dishes and shellfish. It is also excellent with charcuterie items, cold cuts, and pâtés. While tasting various breads at breakfast, we could tell how well rye bread harmonizes with a small layer of butter and a nice bitter orange marmalade.
The professor learned a lot about rye bread the hard way.
In the war, I was taken prisoner, as were many others. But from the Germans, we learned how to make rye bread using methods of natural fermentation, like a sourdough.
This is the formula for a French method, with baker's yeast and a small amount of vinegar for slight acidification. Rye flour is so low in gluten that some vital wheat gluten is included in the formula to support the structure of the bread. This formula will be repeated at the end of the program, along with one using percentage figures.
So we add all of the ingredients, rye flour,
and
salt,
and
yeast,
only thing I forgot, you need to get
water,
so say a little bit of
ascorbic acid,
vinegar.
vinegar.
La farine avec l'eau avant de mettre la pâte fermentée.
We mix about 3 minutes and then add the pâte fermentée, or pre-fermented dough, which does contain white flour. This pot is so soft we can add it all at once. Mixing a dough with rye flour goes a little more rapidly than one with only white flour because there isn't much gluten to develop. Blending the doughs takes a bit of time on first speed.
Now at this point the consistency is just roughly blended.
Yeah.
Then about 4 minutes on second speed until the dough is ready for the first fermentation. Since rye is so sticky, lightly enrobe the dough with flour to make it easier to handle.
For rye bread, cover the dough and let it sit for 50 minutes, with one turn midway.
And the cross has tendencies.
This is a demonstration of how you would turn the dough if it is fermenting out of the mixer, which may occur in a busy bakery. Fold one side into the other, and opposite ends into the middle. Gently press the edges back together.
Puis, on l'applique comme ceci.
Attendez, il faut faire lumière. Yeah.
Now the rye dough is in the tub, ready to continue to ferment for about 30 minutes.
La pâte. On s'accorde toujours. Ça colle.
After the first fermentation, we divide and scale the dough into 450-gram pieces. Give each piece several gentle turns just to start the molding. After about 20 minutes rest, we mold the dough pieces into loaves. Rye dough is a stickier, tighter dough than white dough. When molding, you need a firmer hand and must roll it fairly tight without elongating it too much.
The final fermentation, or proof, after shaping the rye bread is relatively short because there is not a lot of gluten present. The dough pieces must be handled very gently at this stage for scoring and placing in the oven. Rye bread does not rise very much, so scoring is not as important as it is with the baguette, for example.
To check the results, we are cutting into the rye bread to examine the internal structure. The aroma of the bread is good, and the internal crumb is moist but not sticky or gummy.
Elle est très bonne. Et la mie n'est pas collante.
The keeping qualities of rye are very good. Rye is even better eaten after 24 or 36 hours.